It is
I'm
possible.
looking at Sierra Leone specifically,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at, say, Koryardu,
Yes.
Maya,
Yes.
Baroma.
Yes.
These are three different sites
Yes.
that I know about in the Kono province.
Yes.
So, first of all, there was this guy, what's his name? Seawright. Was he good? Was he not good? What was the story with him? Because, he tried to do things, but I don't think he did well. I don't know what's going on there. I'm just curious what you think about, what happened with Koryardu. Let's start with Koryardu. Is Koryardu in a good shape, a bad shape? What's going on with Koryardu?
Koryardu Limited has been there for a very long time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the longest, one of the oldest
Mines.
and actually the largest diamond mine in the country.
Really?
In Sierra Leone, oh yes, for long years. It has lived, during the war, after the war.
Yeah.
So, and it's still there. And it's a kimberlite.
Are the people benefiting from it at all?
It's a kimberlite mine. Now, what you can see in Koryardu, within Koryardu environment, is that Koryardu people, all the environment people, are still among the poorest. You see. So living standards is very high. It's very hard. In fact, to make things worse, is that Koryardu actually is in court with the community people. Community people they are not happy. There's what they call the marginalized, affected property owners. They feel cheated. They feel that their rights are...
Were they cheated? I mean, people feel cheated all the time, maybe, but I don't know. Is it that bad?
Yeah, well, they had to be relocated. They have not been relocated. They refuse to be relocated because those who are relocated are not living in any good conditions. They don't have good water system. They don't have schools. The resettlement area is far away from the main city. They cannot afford to be paying transport to go, and it is a risky environment. So you cannot be seeing people who are...
So we're stuck.
Yes, they're stuck. So there are a lot of problems associated with Koryardu at the moment. I mean, labor issues are there. People have been...
Are people working in the mine?
There are a lot of people working, but there have been accusation of Koryardu really underpaying them. And so there are also those issues now being negotiated by government to resolve. So there are a lot of concerns associated with...
How about Maya mine? Is Maya mine also?
Maya mining is a new mining that is developing, that hasn't really fully developed yet. So it's in the process of developing. But the question is, will Maya be any better? Because if the example that has been set by Koryardu does not bring any good to the communities, will Maya do it better? I don't know. And so we have concerns. So it's really an issue.
And this Baroma has not been developed. Has it been developed yet? Baroma?
This is talking about Lion Gold.
I don't know the name.
Lion Gold, that's a gold mining area.
No, I'm talking about there's some Baroma diamond deposit that
Seawright?
Yeah, that Seawright was getting the rights for. Is that real? What is that?
It is. Seawright has got the concession to mine, but Seawright hasn't really started mining yet.
Yeah, I don't
seriously.
Was he okay? Was Seawright a legitimate guy doing decent work? I mean, did he work with the community or?
Seawright has not. Seawright had not started mining anywhere.
I know that.
What they were doing exploration. In Nimiyama Chiefdom by the River Sewa. And during that exploration period, they seem to have been really doing a good job. They were really supporting communities. They were establishing facilities, economic facilities for local communities.
Is that a good model?
Fish ponds, and also they even built, very decent, high-level school, some kind of technical school for in one of the chiefdom headquarters in Tongie. Yes, people generally were very happy with Seawright in the exploration concession areas. But that is concession area exploration.
Yeah.
Now, when mining comes proper and the mining starts, we don't know what will happen. But people believe, and I think I also have high expectation that Seawright could be different based on how they have started their exploration. Yeah. And I think that with that kind of possibility, they could they could be an inspiration for some companies to begin to do things differently.
It's difficult. They wouldn't know how to do it. These guys coming
Well,
from
they
America.
have to use their own model.
Yes.
Model of ensuring that while they benefit, communities too benefit.
So could you help make sure that, in fact, they are doing it the right way? Let's say Seawright gets into an environment, he doesn't have the money, he brings in someone else, and someone else tries to make it work. But they wouldn't know how to do it so that the community would be happy. Would your NGO or NGOs like you be able to help them get to the point where they can develop the community in a fair way? And then,
yes,
and we're looking for a good model here. We're looking for a good model.
There are possibilities if they are open. Because one of the things that is happening in the country is that companies are often very reticent to community people, resistant to community, to civil society people. They don't want to talk to civil society. They consider civil society as people who are criticizing them. But what we do is to show them the way, is to make them be more responsible, so that they can be more accepted by the community people, so that they can also contribute to the development of the country and the communities. This is what we want to see. And if no companies are doing that, I mean, by God's standard, we're not going to sit down and keep quiet. We will definitely say
how is Gemfair?
Because one of the things we see is that most of the mining companies are not part of any internationally self-regulatory mechanisms. So you see, it means they don't have standard, they don't follow standard. Even the laws that are set, they violate the laws, and they are not being held seriously accountable, for not doing the right things, and that's really wrong. Yeah. So
do you think we could establish such standards?
We could, yes. And I think that we can look for international standards that have been set.
Maybe. I'm thinking about De Beers' Gemfair.
Gemfair.
Yeah, what's the story with Gemfair?
Well, Gemfair is doing, has actually started doing some good work. I mean, they work with Asana miners. Yeah. Which is a different environment altogether. Yeah. And Asana mining is a difficult mining area because, you don't have particularly productive areas where you are sure to get diamonds when you dig. It's a casino, kind of thing. Yeah. You dig, if you're able to get something, you get. If you're not able to get something, then it's a loss. And that's why we have been asking government, could you do something like they do in Botswana, in Angola, for instance, where there is already an assessment, I think geochemical assessment of the environment, and then they have particular spots specially dedicated to Asana miners and their productive sites. And then you organize the Asana miners into cooperatives. So when they mine, they can get, and they can take loans from the bank or financial institutions. And it doesn't become a casino matter anymore. And then government can then really formalize the sector. Government can then take taxes, benefit from the Asana mining. The people can benefit, and those who are in the sector also as cooperatives, they can benefit. It becomes a win-win game. But as long as it remains a casino affair, it's going to be destructive to the environment. It's going to cause apprehension. People who is going to really invest in it. You can go to the financial institutions. You only get money from other international supporters who try their luck anyway. So those are the kind of things. Gemfair has come in, and they are working with people, with the local people, supporting them, giving them tools and equipment to mine, and then they also try to help them to recover the mine out areas, whether they get anything or something. They help them to recover, and they help support some agricultural activities in those mine out areas. They also buy the diamonds when there are diamonds at a price that is better than normally, paid for in Sierra Leone. So they're helping people really to get more confidence in the work they do, and also they benefit. So Gemfair is setting a new standard. But of course, there can be better ways of doing that. You can improve on that. and those things can be discussed. But at the moment, it's about the best in terms of artisanal mining.
So if De Beers was to try to do something, say, with Baroma or with some, that would be good. You would like that. That would be helpful. A company like De Beers who was doing Gemfair, because I don't think Gemfair is sustainable, really. It's more like charity work.
Yes,
but if they had a place like Baroma and then De Beers did that, maybe it could be a good job. It would be good to have something that works.
De Beers.
Yeah.
De Beers was in Sierra Leone many years back.
That was not good, yeah.
Yes. What De Beers is doing in Botswana, I don't quite know, but it seems to be a good deal between the Botswana government and De Beers. Now, if that model is what De Beers want to bring, where there is some good equity in terms of sharing, but also especially also include community benefits in a different way that makes community people be in charge of what happens, of the resources that are ceded to them, and help them define their own needs in development needs and champion the development of their activities in those areas. It will be a perfect model. It will be a very good model. So
that's worked in Canada. They did that in Canada, I think, with the Aboriginals. They did it in Canada, some things like that.
In the Northwest Territories?
Yeah, something. I don't know exactly what, but there was some work there to get the community benefit done and jobs. And so those kind of models would work in Sierra Leone and other places too.
It could also be improved upon. For instance, the new land law calls for free prior informed consent. So if really De Beers is to work and to make it good, we will know it from the beginning. Engage the communities. The communities would have to be the ones to agree to give their land, not government.
I see.
Yes. And then in the process of agreeing to give their land, then they will define what are the requirements.
Right.
What are the needs? What are the terms? Once that is well defined and agreed upon, and then the process will engineer.
You need some relationship between the community. You still need the government.
Absolutely. You need the government, but the government should not be the one to take the lead in defining those terms.
I understand.
It should be independent people who would work between government and the company and the communities. And because the communities, they are very vulnerable. And communities are often imposed upon by government and authorities. So any attempt, therefore, to make the government take the lead in doing that is going to reinforce the same status quo. And is not going to make community people really be very outspoken and be very, open and give ideas. So that's why we need to reverse the process, make it more inclusive, make it bottom up.
Bottom up, right?
Yes.
Got that. Bottom up makes.
Yes. So that's how things will be different. And I think that there are possibilities because also we're there. Civil society, we're there. We have the skill, the knowledge level to be able to engage communities, and because they already have confidence in us.
Who supports your civil society? Where do you get funding?
That's a very good question, Martin, because I tell you, we have struggles supporting, we have struggle operating, because one of the difficulties is that we don't have enough resources. We struggle to survive and keep our offices and our people going. We look for projects here and there all over the place. We're always looking for projects. But
who subs who helps? The international governments, the UN?
No, UN agency. Yes, UNDP supports something, but they support something relating to security.
Yeah,
security sector. So if civil society,
who supports the civil society like your civil society?
That's what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
For instance, because we also do something around security. I mean, human security.
Right.
Trying to create cohesion between crop farmers and cattle farmers, and that kind of thing, UNDP supports. So in that way, we also use the little resources to be able to work with diamond companies. But also we get support from other agencies, foundations, for instance, Canadian Organization for Development and Peace. It's a Catholic organization. They give some money to do some work. For instance, we have just done social audit of the subnational revenues for about 5 mining areas. So that helps to check the money, the 1% that companies give to communities. How is it spent?
Yeah. And how is it spent? Is it spent well?
Well, there are many problems associated with that, but they managed to do some activities because initially we have just started. This is a pilot. We did not get fine details of the facts and figures. They did not give receipts. They did not provide the details information that we need from the banks or from the companies or even from the community development committees or even from government. So we had to get information from a roundabout way. But we're able to compile a good report. I'll share that with you.
Yeah, look.
It's quite interesting. So we just launched the report last Friday before we came. Yes.
What about go ahead, please.
So if we are to really work with the sector and make it work well, the civil society that will be monitoring and really working to help the communities and help the company and government will need to be really supported to be able to do real good work, do the research, have, educate the people, the community people, and everybody around the issues, ensure that they are trained with the necessary skills that are required for them to manage the resources very well, and also follow up on and monitor, really tracking changes, that happens. So those are fundamental rules. If we want to make things work, we have to invest in it. And that is what the business people too do. Put your mouth where your money is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But government wants civil society to do things. Private sector wants government to do civil society to do things. And yet they don't support civil society. So how will civil society do anything?
Yeah.
So it's really, wishing for, nothing.
How's the Kimberley process? You're still part of this? I mean, is the Kimberley process doing anything good, or is it just greenwash?
Well, Kimberley process, as you know, you have been part of the Kimberley process. We all have been.
Yeah, but I left.
I know you left.
I can't deal with
it. Whatever we had a reasons, I know that you are very dissatisfied with it.
But more than
we are dissatisfied with it, but we cannot let our mining sector in the hands of Kimberley process to mess it up further. That is why we're involved in it. We know there are a lot of things wrong, but we know that there are review circles, and so this is one of the review circles. So we're pushing for more robust, frameworks. For instance, definition of conflict diamonds. We want to move the conflict diamonds definition from rebels to also human rights abuses, environmental abuses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not just the human rights is not even.
We want to also move the process to ensure that communities benefit. That's why now. But
do you think it'll ever happen?
They have made declaration on frame 7, which calls for community development.
Is in Russia and they talk.
Yes.
They're not going to do anything.
But we are working on it now.
You think Zimbabwe is going to approve that?
No, yeah, but they are. They are part of it. They have agreed.
To what? To change the definition of conflict diamonds to include human rights abuse?
Yes. There is no other choice because the mandate of the review process is to broaden the scope of the definition. So if it doesn't include human rights, then definitely it has not respected its mandate.
Right now, is there anything that the Kimberley process is not certifying? We're looking at the Wagner Group. We're looking at severe human rights abuses.
Yes.
Most severe. But the Kimberley process is giving certificates for those goods.
They are giving certificates and they are not respecting, human rights is still something that they have to agree on. But it's work in progress. We cannot relent. We have to make sure it works, or we have to make sure that
it's greenwashing. I feel that it's a terrible situation. And then you're saying those diamonds are okay, and I have nothing to do with it. I mean, I can't.
But the point is, the fact that you guys left hasn't made any difference. It hasn't changed.
Right.
In fact, it's the fact that good people leave. Yeah. Systems that could work actually makes the system look bad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help the system to improve itself. So we have to keep pushing and embarrassing those who don't want things to move, who don't want to change, to make sure that they realize that
you think it'll change.
World is changing.
You think it'll change? Do you think the Kimberley process will change?
It will change.
Stage? You think so?
It will take time, but it will change.
In our lives?
Yes.
You think so? Because I look at governments like Zimbabwe. They don't want to change it.
This is the reason why I'm telling you. if the industry is willing, the entire diamond sector really depends on the industry. It relies on the industry.
That's why I'm against the World
So
Diamond
if
Council. The World Diamond Council
the
does that.
industry, for instance, Rapaport
Yeah.
company establishes a relationship in Sierra Leone with the mining sector, with the diamond company, and then establishes a special standard that is respected and enforced with independent monitors like civil society, that's the beginning of change.
I was trying to do that.
And for me, that is how things will start to change.
So I called up Al Cook, and I spoke to him about this situation with Seawright.
Yeah.
Seawright was doing a good job. They say he was doing the best job of all these.
Yeah, no, true.
So I said to De Beers, I says, why don't you take on a project here with the Seawright situation and give it good, do it correctly, make it a model case before you go into Angola and try to do things there with this, you know? So he said he would let me know. I'd like you to talk to him. I'd like to, look, Al is right now very busy with Botswana.
Yeah.
Once that's done, if he still has any money, they're in trouble, these guys.
The Bears will always have money.
What?
Actually,
Maybe there's something that we could do.
Seawright is actually struggling.
Seawright is finished. He can't. He doesn't have any more money.
And I can tell you that concession
Yes.
is the most productive.
You think so?
Of the diamonds concessions. Yes. That pipe is the best.
You're saying Baroma.
It's even better than Koryardu Limited.
And you think
The
it
productivity
really
level.
developed?
Yes.
You think if we tried to get the Bears to do it with Seawright, maybe we could make a model project?
If a model project is developed out of it, yes.
But it needs NGOs. It needs you guys to come and say, these are standards for community development. These are standards for this. This is how it has to work.
Yeah.
And everybody must agree to it.
Now, Marty, you should understand something. Once there is an interest in the mining company or in mining, government is always on top. They are going to take and grab everything. So it will require real, test of strength of a mining company to say, I will not get involved in this until civil society
This is the Bears.
Until civil society is part of it.
All right, so that's how I'm putting it together
Yes.
with the Bears.
So I think that
The Rapaport, the Bears, Seawright pushes the project.
And I think that this is in the mining sector, De Beers is the largest. And I don't think there is any big company in Sierra Leone, really an internationally renowned company in Sierra Leone that is
But
mining.
you think De Beers would be a good company to try to bring in with Seawright and try to do something? I'm just trying to think.
It will only be good if it does things differently.
If it what?
If it does things differently.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. I don't mind.
If it does things differently,
Yeah.
in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
and Koryardu, with civil society,
Yeah.
yes.
But they did what's it called? The Gemfair.
I have no idea whether De Beers in Botswana is working with civil society. I have
don't
no
know
idea
either.
with that.
I'll
And Gemfair is a different ball game. It's an artisanal game.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
it's more
different.
complicated. It's hard.
Yes. So look, this is we're talking about corporate mining.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have to see. I will not stick my neck out for any company until I see it doing the right things.
That's fine, and that's
Yes.
right. But don't forget, you have other minerals there also.
Yes,
I don't know. Look,
there are other minerals. And even with other minerals, I would like to see good companies,
Yeah.
with good conscience, with good responsibility and obligations to ensure that the right things are done. Yes, we can work with those companies.
I'm going to think about it. Look, the U.S. government has now changed.
Yes.
There's a lot of concern about African minerals going to the Chinese. And there's a lot of concern about trying to do things different.
Mm.
I went and I was so surprised when they took away the restrictions or the sanctions on Zimbabwe. So I said, why are you taking away the sanctions?
Mm.
And they said they're taking away the sanctions because they worry about the Chinese and the 3Ts and uranium and stuff in Zimbabwe. So when I think about this, I say there must be a better way. There must be an alternative, okay? Because the interests of the governments, they're not interested in the people so much. They're interested in the minerals. But they need to do it right. If America is going to go in against China, they're going to have to find the right way to do it. And that's why I'm thinking about the
I'm glad you're saying that, because there's a huge cry about China.
Oh, yeah.
And yet we know that there are American companies that are mining in Sierra Leone, and they're not doing any better.
All right.
So they really have to.
But there's a new government. They have to up the game if they want to get the other minerals.
Yes.
Let me do this. My son is in Sierra Leone today.
Yes. Okay.
He lived there for a year and a half. I don't know how much I can help, but I can do is I can reach out to De Beers. Maybe there's some other things, but it's a problem. It's not going away. The other thing is I want to think what we can do for the Peace Diamond Village, for Koryardu. Because there it's not about diamonds anymore.
Yeah.
Here the question is, what happens after the diamonds?
Yes.
We have the school. We have the medical clinic. We have the clean water. We have the road. Now they have to maintain it. We must find the solution for sustainable economic development at the village level. I'm thinking about vocational work, teaching the older kids how to do carpentry, or teaching, like this woman was talking about, sewing or something. We've been bringing people in from around the world now. I think this is our 4th or 5th trade mission. And these people, they get engaged. They're interested. If we could figure out how to make this a model village where we could have some benefit that they could earn the money. You know, who fixes the pumps? The pumps broke, right? When the pumps broke because they had solar pumps, so the people drank from the river. They drank from the river, they got typhus. I found out about it. Immediately we put in manual pumps. But there was no one to fix the pumps.
Martin,
yeah.
Look, those processes need to be framed within a sustainable, process.
Yes.
Right from the word go. Because really, development, if it is not engineered as an endogenous process, if it is imported or brought to the people, oh, you need water, you need school, you need that, you will have to be the ones that will maintain it forever.
I can't do that. I'm getting older.
So therefore, the people themselves will have to be the ones who will define what they need, how they need it, how it will be implemented, how it will be maintained, how it will be sustained over the period. This is why we need development practitioners like us, who should be the ones who will be engaging the people right from the word. This is why development is failing. All white elephants all over the place.
I agree with you. And so now,
both government and private sector.
Yeah, but listen, I got stuck with this village, okay, because we helped them.
You and I,
yes,
we talked over some 20 years back.
20 years back, during
we are supposed to Peace Diamond Alliance. We are supposed to develop and design a project that will last.
Yes.
It never worked.
It couldn't.
No, I was waiting. I have always been waiting. And
so now it's 20 years. So now it's 20 years. So now we have.
I have more experience now. In fact, we have more experience now and more, cases of how things don't work and why and how it can work.
Did you look at this Peace Diamond Village? It's a real village with real people. It has the basic infrastructure. The government paid. The government gave 25%.
I know.
Now we look at that with me and tell us what we should do. Look, I'm not sustainable. I'm 72 years old. Okay?
You are sustainable.
I'm not sustainable, okay? So maybe you can help, and we could figure out, as a model case.
So what do you want me to do?
I want you to help us set this village up so it's sustainable.
Okay.
With the people, with.
Of course, I don't do things on my own.
With the team.
That's what I'm saying.
So you come back to me and you tell me this is what it would take to go to the Peace Diamond Village and figure out how to make it sustainable. That's what I want. I want it to be economically sustainable so they can fix their own pumps.
We'll design a framework.
Yes.
And let you know.
Go on.
Yes. And, I think that nothing is impossible if the will is there.
Look, I got to take care of this.
If you have the will, and what happens a lot of times is that people say things and they don't follow through.
I will follow through. I will follow through.
I don't like to be. I don't want to enter into the system and start to engage the people that raises the expectations.
Make a budget.
And if it is not going to work,
listen.
Yes.
Make a budget.
Yes.
What it costs per month. Okay. to transition this village to sustainability.
All right.
Okay?
So we'll work on something.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Look, my son
No, it's
lived in
true.
Seattle in a year and a half. He's
Yes.
given his life and
No, I
soul
know.
to this place.
I know. There are a few times when he called me and said, I'm coming there, and Martin says I should talk to you and
Yeah,
see
but
you.
so now I see you.
Did you see?
Now I talk to you. So I want you to work on that for me.
Okay.
Okay?
I will do something, Martin. I know you have passion for Sierra Leone.